Alright, what's up guys? New video today. Today we are covering Buster Blader combos. This is a very exciting deck. Now that the Buster Lock has come back off the ban list, there's a ton of things that you can do with this deck. It was always a pretty good deck. It's a very good anti-meta deck. It's one of the better legacy decks available just out there. It's a little bit expensive just because one card hasn't really seen a reprint, but other than that card, this is going to be like a fairly cheap deck. Also, there are tons of different variants. You can run a Dogmatika variant, a Guard Dragon variant, a more control-based variant. There's a ton of ways to play this deck, but without further ado, enough of all of that. Let's get into it. Off the bat, all you need for this first combo is a copy of Buster Whelp of the Destruction Swordsman. You need a copy of this. You can also play cards like 1-for-1. You can play cards like, for example, Where Art Thou to search this if you wanted to, because you play level 1 extenders that you summon onto the board, and then you can search this with Where Art Thou and then summon it like that. Or you can use Jack in the Hand. A really nice trick that you can do with this deck is you can show them this card and then show them Droll and Lockbird, and then usually they'll take the Droll and Lockbird, but you only search once, so it doesn't matter. You give them a Droll, but the Droll's not going to do anything anyway, so it's kind of like a mind game. But you can play those cards are typically pretty good. Also, you can play Pot of Prosperity, because the cards in your extra deck are, you probably have 7 important cards in your extra deck. Outside of those 7 cards, the rest are like all over the place. Like, you don't even need them. You have 7 that you like I'll show you. There are 7 cards that you absolutely need to play, but outside of those 7, like the rest, you could just you could get rid of whenever you need to. But let's get started. We're going to normal summon the Buster Whelp, and we're going to search. Yes. Always search out the prologue. We're going to set the prologue, and now we're going to link away. There's a few different things that you can do. You can either make a link Rebo. This will give you some battle protection. Make it all Mirage, although this is probably the worst of the things to do. Or you can, well, if you're playing like the Invoked package, you might want to make the all Mirage. Or you can summon the Striker Dragon. Striker Dragon is actually an interesting card to do, because with Striker Dragon, you can search a copy of Boot Sector Launch, which is kind of like a +1. And then you can use that Boot Sector Launch to discard cards for other things. So if you're playing like Twin Twisters or cards that require a discard, or if you make like a Dragoon, for example, you can make the Striker Dragon, and then you have a free negate because you have the Boot Sector Launch in hand, and you can discard that to negate and destroy with Dragoon. Basically, it's like a free +1. But if you don't have access to the Dragoon, you'll typically go into the Link Rebo, summon the Link Rebo, and we always turn on manual chaining, end our turn. It's as simple as that. As soon as our opponent's turn starts, actually, now you wait for them to summon a monster. You wait for them to summon any kind of a monster. They summon something. You flip the copy of Prologue, the Destruction Swordsman, and then you send a copy of the Destruction Sword Memories and a Buster Blader, or Buster Blader the Destruction Swordsman, doesn't really matter which. And then, yes, we're going to also chain the effect of Destruction Sword Memories. This allows us to banish fusion materials in our graveyard, and then we can summon a Buster Blader the Destruction Swordsman from our extra deck. This summons the Buster Dragon, this summons the Destruction Swordsman. We're going to activate that and special summon the fusion by, again, we sent the fusion materials off of that. Summon that, summon the Buster Dragon. Buster Dragon changes everything to dragons. This thing changes everything that is a dragon to defense mode and negates their, it prevents their effects from activating, which is actually even better than negating their effects, because they can't even activate. Like, it can't even start a chain. They can't like tribute for cost and then activate in graveyard. Like, literally, they can't activate their effects. It's actually better because, yeah, it's just like a blanket. You can't activate stuff. So basically, they're locked out for the turn. And usually, people around this time will just end their turn. And then the following turn, you just use your regular extenders to play and then OTK your opponent. If you have some sort of Buster Lock here, you can link this away, do other stuff, make a Boral Sword, attack one of the defense position monsters. This does piercing, and if you wait for them to summon a ton of monsters, this thing gains a ton of attack. Yeah, it can gain a seriously like huge amount of attack. But that is basically it for combo number 1. Alright, so now we are in combo number 2. For this combo, the only thing that you need is, again, the Buster Whelp of Destruction Swordsman. I've already described the different ways you can search this or get to this card. In addition to that, you need basically a level 1 free level 1 special summon. Not at all. This is not hard to do at all. You can play a card like this, Chester Confit. This card just summons itself for free no matter what. You can play a copy of, and it doesn't even have to be really a level 1. It's just level 1s are very good in the deck. But basically a free special summon. But you can play Jester Confit. You can play cards like Magician Souls, which have great synergy with the deck because they give you access to Dark Paladin, because you can send like Dark Magician to the graveyard, and then you can fuse from the graveyard using Magicalized Fusion. Also, you can get rid of your traps, and a lot of your traps have graveyard effects anyway. But also another good card is the Tenyi Adhara. That's another really good card to play. It's a free special summon. It's also a tuner. It can let you go into Needlefiber plays, stuff like that. It can go into follow-up plays. But yeah, all of those cards are very good. Basically, all you need is a Buster Whelp and a level 1 extender. Pretty simple combo. First of all, we're going to special summon the Jester Confit. He just special summons himself. He's great. He's like the easiest special summon ever. And then we're going to normal summon the Buster Dragon, the Buster Whelp of Destruction Swordsman. Yes. We're going to search, and we're going to search the prologue again. It's one of the most important cards to search for. Now we are going to link away the Buster Whelp of Destruction Swordsman for the Striker Dragon. And I'll show you why I play the Striker Dragon here. Activate the Striker Dragon, search the Boot Sector launch. This is basically just a free discard that we're going to have for Dragoon to make sure that our Dragoon has that free negate. We're not actually going to activate this. We're not actually going to use it. If you wanted to, if you were going like second, you want to bait out your opponent, you could activate this because they might get scared of it and think they're interrupting you, but in reality, they're just negating or popping a card that is totally irrelevant to you anyway. Next, we're going to link these two away for a copy of Predaplant Verde Anaconda. We're going to activate that. Pay 2,000, Red Eyes Fusion, send the Red Eyes, yes, and the Dark Magician. Summon the Dragoon. I like to summon in this column, so there's no weird stuff going on. And we are going to set the prologue. And we're going to turn on manual chaining, so nothing goes too wild. As soon as they, well, not as soon as they draw, as soon as they summon a monster, we're going to do something. As soon as they summon the monster, we're going to flip the prologue. We are going to always send Destruction Sword Memories and a copy of Buster Blader. We're also going to chain the Destruction Sword Memories in Graveyard. And no, we don't want to chain our own Dragoon. So we're going to summon, and we're not going to banish the, do not banish the, actually it doesn't matter if we banish the Whelp anyway. We're going to banish the Striker Dragon and the Buster Blader. Keep the Whelp around, why not? And then the Buster Dragon. And we can also activate Buster Dragon, which has a pretty decent effect. We can attach a Graveyard one, which is like the Buster Whelp here. And it doesn't really matter, but it's usually better if we have like the Buster lock available to us. But in this case, we didn't. And now they basically are stuck here. That's pretty cool. And then we just draw for turn and do all types of other stuff. Alright, so this combo is going to be a slight variation on the last combo. I'm not going to spend too much time explaining it. We're going to special summon the Jester Confit. We're going to normal summon the Destruction Whelp. We're going to activate the effect to search the prologue. Then we're going to link both of these away to special summon a copy of Crystron Needlefiber. We're going to activate Needlefiber to summon out the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword. We want to get this out just to have it in rotation so we can get it into our graveyard. Now we're going to link both of these away for a copy of Predaplant Verde Anaconda. We're going to activate the Verde Anaconda, pay 2,000, send a Red Eyes Fusion, summon the Dragoon. I like to summon it in this column, like I always say. We didn't go through Striker Dragon, so we're not going to get a free card to discard. But that's not a big problem. We're going to set the prologue, and we're going to end our turn. Always turn on manual chaining. Wait for our opponent to summon something. Make a commitment to the board. They summon whatever they summon. We activate prologue. We send Buster Sword Destruction and Buster Blader. Then we are going to chain the Destruction Sword Memories in our graveyard to summon the Buster Blader Destruction Swordsman. Don't banish this. Just leave this alone. You can banish Red Eyes because you're never going to use it. And the Buster Blader Clone Man. Summon that. Summon the Buster Dragon. Right there. Now we can do something interesting. These two go into effect right as soon as they're summoned. They change this to defense mode, but then we can also chain a copy of Buster Dragon and also to attach this, and then we can also chain the prologue of Destruction Swordsman. So now we can attach using the effect of Buster Dragon, we can attach the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword from our graveyard to our Buster Blader to lock our opponent out of the extra deck, and the Prologue will actually protect the Destruction Buster, the Dragon Buster Destruction Sword will be protected for the rest of the turn with the Prologue, so they can't even like MST this card if they wanted to. So basically all their monster effects are negated. On top of that, all of their monsters are in defense mode, or not negated, but they can't activate their effects, and everything's stuck in defense mode. We do piercing and all that fun stuff. We also have a negate, all that amazing, great stuff. The follow-up, we can pop things, obviously with Dragoon. This does tons of piercing. Buster Dragon is going to die at the end of this turn, but it's not a huge problem because we can activate the effect of Dragon Buster to special summon itself, which is a cool effect a lot of people don't know about. Special summon itself, and then we can go into a copy of Hot Red Dragon, Archfiend Abyss, using the Buster Dragon and the Buster Lock. And this is actually pretty good because you're probably going to OTK your opponent anyway. You have now 2 negates, which is pretty cool. Off of just, what did we start with? 2 cards? Pretty decent. And like I said, you have basically floodgates, and then you have like a very nice OTK follow-up if you wanted to. I mean, we have easily game on board, and Dragoon pops 2 monsters, and this does tons of piercing. So even if they manage to build up a sizable board, the bigger board they build, it's actually worse for them because more of their monsters are negated. The more piercing this guy will do, and the more damage this will do by popping monsters on the field. So even if they build a board of 5 monsters with 3,000 attack each, it wouldn't even matter because they're literally just digging a deeper hole for themselves anyway. But that is combo number 2. Pretty darn impressive, all things considered. Alright, for this next combo, this one is actually arguably the most insane because we start with 2 cards that have absolutely nothing to do with Buster Blader, but in the end will still end on that same Buster Dragon lock where we stop our opponent from activating any monster effects, turn them all to dragons, all that fun stuff. Just by using these 2 cards, Nadir Servant and Trap Trick. So right off the bat, we're going to activate the Nadir Servant. We're going to send the Ash Dragon to the graveyard in order to search the Dogmatika Ecclesia to our hand. So obviously, we're not going to be able to use the usual special summon effect of Dogmatika Ecclesia because we don't have an effect monster, so we're just going to have to normal summon her. We're going to normal summon her, yes, and then we're going to search out the Dogmatika Punishment. That'll give us an additional interruption. We're going to set the Dogmatika Punishment. We're going to set the Trap Trick. Turn on Manual Chaining. We're going to end our turn. Activate the effect of Ash Dragon to search a copy of Fleur and add that to hand. Don't special summon it. And now, as you can see, we have basically 2 interruptions just by playing the Dogmatic Engine. Get to target a monster and pop it, and then send a card from the extra deck. We'll send probably a Natis, and we'll pop an extra card. And then on top of that, we have the Fleur, which is a monster negate. But we'll wait again for our opponent to normal summon a monster of some kind. Then we'll activate the effect of, we'll probably interrupt with the punishment a couple of times first. But, well, not really. But we'll leave the punishment face down because technically it's a weird situation. We can't really use the punishment because after Trap Trick you can't use punishment. And then we can't special summon from the extra deck after we use punishment. So it's a weird timing thing, but it's better to have the free card than not have the free card just in case they negated some step in this. We're going to activate the Trap Trick, and we're going to set our copy of Prologue right there. We're going to banish the other copy, and then immediately we're going to activate that Prologue, and we're going to send the Buster Sword Memories and the Buster Blader clone. Activate immediately. Always activate the Destruction Sword Memories in the same chain so nothing funny happens. Summon that Buster Blader by using the Ash Dragon and the fake Buster Blader. And then we're going to summon the Buster Dragon right there. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We don't have to do anything else. We have the Fleur if we want to summon it for free, and probably before our opponent ends, we'll summon that Fleur. Just because it's a huge monster and it'll help us OTK the following turn, negate something, and we don't even need to. And then we basically have game on board. It's be very difficult for our opponent to follow up. Also, we have, let me turn off this manual chaining. It's getting annoying. But basically, yeah, we have a monster negate here. Monster can't be destroyed by monsters from the extra deck. Obviously, we have this whole Buster. Our opponent can't activate monster effects on the field sort of thing. We have the Dogmatika punishment in the follow-up turn, obviously, because we couldn't activate it then. But this is actually still pretty important because, number one, it baits out our opponent, which is really good for them to like target stuff for back row removal. That way they don't target the trap trick. But outside of that, it's also very important because if our opponent manages to set up a sizable board, it can help clear that board right now so that we can still attack one monster and then for the rest kind of get in for game if we need to. But even if things go wrong, it's still like a pretty decent free interruption that you get. And again, just to be clear, we didn't start on any Buster Blader cards, and we ended up on this whole combo anyway. So all things considered, this one was pretty impressive. But that is the video. I hope this inspired you to build some sort of interesting Buster Blader deck. Whether or not I'm going to drop one personally, I don't know. Unfortunately, this card that is highlighted here, the Buster Dragon, is currently a $40 card, and I don't own any. So that's a little bit frustrating, but I'll see. I'll try to work on it maybe. But I just really want to get these combos out because I've been playing the deck a ton in preparation for a tier list video. So thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, and thank you for watching again. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoy this type of content, check out the other videos on the channel, and please subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. Again, thank you so much. Have a terrific day.